You are now tuned in to the Property Management Show with your host, Alex Osanenko. We bring in the experts of today so you can be the master of tomorrow in all things property management. Whether it's getting more doors, running a profitable fee-based business, or by simply being the best property manager. So, grab a pen and paper because this episode is sure to be a good one. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Property Management Show. I have a good one for you today. It's always a good one. But today is interesting because I met today's guest via email. So he emailed me a response to my interview with Mind.co, which is, if you remember, maybe a couple episodes ago, I interviewed Doug Bryan, who's the venture-backed, got millions and millions of dollars, venture-backed property management company, millions of dollars from VCs, I believe something around 20 million mark, I can't recall. And Benton actually wrote me an email, said, hey, great interview, but I also wanted to let you know there's another way to grow a property management company pretty fast without actually raising funds. And that really piqued my interest, and we chatted, and he's here today. And so let me tell you what he's done. He went from 450 properties in about 2.5 years ago to 2,000 in 12 markets. Again, 2.5 years ago without raising any funds. He calls it fiscally responsible growing. Is that how you call it, Benton? Fiscal responsibility and losing sleep? Is that how you did it?
Yeah, fiscal responsibility and losing sleep. Lots of losing sleep,
Very, very cool. So Benton Cotter here on the show with us today. Benton, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Alex? Appreciate you having me on.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and it's really interesting for me. There's so many questions I have, and I realized I wanted to understand first and have our audience help our audience understand, where are you going with this company? What is the vision here? You're the CEO and founder, correct? You co-founder?
Co-founder with Jacob Ash. And so, our goal is to continue to grow. We want to be at 10,000 doors by 2020 and in 20 markets. So we're currently at 12 markets right now. We want to continue that landscape emergence and growth, and also grow our doors to 10,000 doors by 2020. We're on pace. We've hit most of our goals there, so it's in sight.
10,000 doors by 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're on pace. And 2020 is only a year and a half away.
Yeah, a year and a half away. Yeah, so there's gonna be a jump, hopefully here.
Wow, and you go in 20 markets. So, how much of your growth came from acquisitions, and how much of it came from organic?
So we're about 60% acquisitions right now, and then 40% organic growth. When we first started, we had a big company just kind of fall in our lap, about 850 doors here in the Phoenix market, and so that's kind of the catalyst. And then we've made about 7 acquisitions since, all the way from 50 doors to another 750.
How do you find people who want to sell?
That's a trade secret there, Alex, man. We're kind of flying under the radar, and to be honest, it's a lot of my partner, Jacob Ash, calling and cold calling. We get a list of all the property management companies in an area, NARPM, and we just call them and see if there's a deal to happen. And what works is it's me and him calling, and so we don't have a business developer or someone like that. It's actually us, so we kind of get connected with these people, and also we have a lot to offer as well as, hey, we have buyers that want to buy in markets. Jacob comes from the distressed property realm, so has a big network of buyers. And so we kind of build a relationship and see how it's going and see if it's a fit. But we really build up the relationships personally with us. We're the good old boys. We're not some big company. We're the good old boys. And so just cold calling, nothing fancy. We cold call.
So hustle.
Yeah, just hustle and, cold calling and going out and meeting, buying dinners,
Huh. By the way, I think I failed in the introduction to mention your company name. It's RentVest. You guys are listening and I happen to be not in your car. Don't do it in the car. But if you're in front of the computer, go to rentvestpm.com. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Is that where you're at? Yeah.
Yep.
So we'll link out to the site. So that's awesome. So 60% acquisition through some hustle, cold calling with your partner. That sounds like a plan. But the other 40%, which is the growth, is about 1,500 units. So about 700 units you got over the last 2.5 years from organic growth. Let's pin that down a little bit for a second and talk about that. That is pretty incredible growth rate, and you also did it in multiple markets, right? Opening new markets.
Yeah, and that's the key for here is the last first year was all acquisitions basically. We did some organic growth. We're just too busy buying doors, going through and learning that process. So the past year and a half has really been about our organic growth, and so we've opened 9 markets in 18 months, and so they're just emerging. We have a lot of doors. They're at 50. They're at 50 doors because they just barely started. But it's all through digital marketing. Our SEO is lacking. You can point that out. Our SEO is really lacking because we just haven't focused on AdWords. That we know what our return is, so we can go into market and do some AdWords, Bing, and some digital advertising methods.
So Benton, you said AdWords. Anything besides? Have you done like all property management? Have you done actually lead buying versus doing AdWords?
Yeah, we try everything. We're going to throw flyers at everything. We'll try whatever we want. We do some out property management, some leads, management property. We do whatever we can. We're not a big fan of those, to be honest. We like the AdWords. We like them searching us out and be able to read our website. We try to be transparent. We put our fees and everything we can on our website and our lead generation sites. So by the time they get to us, they're a little bit nurtured a little bit more on their own. And so we love those more. But we tried everything: Facebook, LinkedIn, name it, man, mailers, whatever you think you can think of. Everything we haven't tried is radio. There's a big player in that space, so we're going to stay away from radio. But everything else we've tried, and you name it, we've tried.
How do you decide? And that's actually, let's see if that works. This question works. Do you actually measure? Do you do some simulations and understand the customer, the possible customer or projected customer acquisition cost through AdWords before opening up a territory? Does that play into it?
Yeah, that's part of the factors because we know we're all online based, so we want to know the search volume. So we look up certain keywords. We know just keywords work. We run some diagrams and run how much the keywords will come back, how much volume people are getting. Also, we look at average monthly rent and see, hey, our cost per acquisition is projected at this, and we think we can close this amount of leads and conversion rates. Run all those scenarios to see what our ROI would be and where we go. But definitely the search volume is huge, and that's what we try to gauge on. Plus also competition. There's certain areas that they don't have we're a flat fee model, and there's some areas that don't have a flat fee model. We feel like we can emerge in there and really grasp the change and we differentiate ourselves. So that plays in a factor as well. But the research of the keywords is key. And to be honest, we'll spend $1,000 or $2 just to test out the market before we're even there. Where I take the phone call and just let them know, hey, we're not there yet, but we will be soon. We'll be licensed soon, or we're already licensed, but we'll be there opening up. Just to gauge to see, so we don't actually jump in and our projections are wrong. We can actually run a test, and once you run about 2003, you can kind of see really what your results are going to be.
100%. So we'll run simulations. So we'll do the same thing for clients, right? If somebody says, okay, well, is this worth it going to this market? This is the kind of stuff we do. We go into run a simulation on AdWords. You can tell what the cost per click is. What the cost per click, you can sort of, from there, you can pretty much assume cost per lead. And from there, you can assume cost per customer, acquisition cost per customer. We have not been very wrong at all doing that process, and I'm really glad that you sort of identified that as a way to really gauge markets before going in. And I love the testing process. So what would you do? Would you just throw up a landing page, throw a couple $1,000 and see actually validate the conversion rate?
Yeah, and we'll do a little bit of a broad scheme. And nice thing is it's taking us the call or whatever, so I can kind of pretty gauge how engaged this client's going to be and where they're going to sign. And we kind of go off of how many clicks and how many actually fill out the web form rather than how many people I talk to and I project out. That's always a hearsay. You never know. Sometimes people you think you're going to sign, they don't sign, so you don't go by that math, but we go by that. Just like you, because we have multiple markets and it's pretty duplicatable. As you know, that's the benefit of you is you have all this data that you can benchmark, and that's what we feel we can do as well. We can benchmark better than that person in that specific local office because we know, hey, 90% of the time this works in other markets. It's going to work here. There's a few variations obviously on the ads and keywords and content, but it's pretty duplicatable. And so that's the best way to do it is test it out. And that's why like local markets, just throw some money at it and see if it sticks. We do broad keywords a lot too as well. It's just see if we can pick up some new keywords that we can expand to all the markets. You never know what Denver was pretty high tech, and they had some different keywords that came out of Denver that we didn't realize were searching in other markets. And we're able to apply that to other markets as well.
Very cool. Let's talk a little bit down funnel. Before we go there, do you do anything with mailers?
Mailers are hard. We try them, and we do some certain markets better for that. Like our Reno market, they're putting the package together, the team down there actually, to kind of coincide with our marketing. And I think it works in some markets, but for us, it hasn't been too effective. Our cost of acquisition is way higher, and so we stuck to our digital means is better. But we definitely try them. You just never know. We've tried, the huge, 8x10 mailer. We try everything you can think of. The weird saying on them. We've tried direct. And usually, to be honest, it's the cheap little yellow 3x5 that just says, hey, you want a property manager. It's been the most effective. It sucks and it costs us nothing, but yet we'll spend 10 grand on this nice mailer and it gives us no results. And so I have no idea on mailers. I just given up, but we'll send them out once in a while. But to be honest, it's not worth it. We'd rather do the digital. And the clientele you get from your AdWords where they're seeking out a property manager is just so much more effective than, trying to get them when they're hot, and that's why I feel like Facebook and LinkedIn they're not thinking about it, but yet maybe an ad pops up and maybe now they start thinking about it. But if they call you right then, they're not really prepared to hear everything. But if they're searching you out through Google search or Bing, they're prepared to learn and know what your product is and the value you're going to bring.
They're further down the buying process, the buying funnel, right? They already are choosing. They know they have a problem. They've identified it. They identified a potential solution. They just need to find who's going to provide that solution, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Now, what we're doing is just to share a little bit of strategy stuff with you. We find that mailers work probably 5 to 6 touches. What amplifies, and that's kind of expensive to run that many mailers, but it's not cost prohibitive. You do what you do end up getting is different people that you would have gotten through AdWords. So a lot of ways you sort of you get a little bit different markets, so you don't really overlap too much. Where they're going to get your mailer and click on your AdWords. No, usually that doesn't happen. They'll go research your website and then.
That's a good point.
But what we've done, we have a multi-channel. We approach it, we call it MCM, multi-channel marketing. And so we increase the frequency of touch by remarketing to them on Facebook, as well as remarketing for the website, as well as running AdWords campaign with a very, very sort of similar offer. And so we'll structure the 5 or 6 drop sends in a way that it sort of leads them to a decision, initially helps them identify a problem without really any pitching, then some education, then some questions on, hey, are you getting rent this month, or is the tenant late again? Very, very specific stuff. And then they'll get the same stuff on Facebook to them, right? Because you can do audience match on Facebook.
Yeah.
And touch that. And we find that's being effective. The customer acquisition costs are similar to AdWords, but we feel that's a different kind of clientele that may have not, you trigger them instead of they already are in the buying process.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, is because people sometimes are not searching out, they don't have time or whatever. You definitely want the different local channel. And if you combine them, think how powerful that could be. Put those mailers inside of your campaign. We do our drip campaigns with mailers. Think how hey, if they open up this email, I'm gonna send this mailer to them. About, hey, is your tenant late again? They must have liked this email about evictions, and so you can direct mail them something else. Just different multi-channels as well. But I like the idea of broadening your audience, and then just the more touches you have, the better. That's the key, is follow-up works, because you just have more touches with them. That's why a lot of property managers don't follow up. Well, that's you're missing out on probably 20% of conversion just because you don't follow up. And it's all about touches and get them at the right spot and hitting that emotion factor. Where they buy in once they hit that emotion factor you're looking for.
So you guys, let's talk down the funnel a little bit. So marketing, all right, you'll try anything. You do some AdWords and Bing, and cost per click or pay per click seems to be what's working for you to test out the market, but also continue and know exactly what your acquisition cost is versus your customer value, and you can manage the business that way, fiscally responsible.
Yeah.
What does your Benton, where a lot of this falls apart for many property management companies I know, is the sales process.
Yeah.
Right. And you just so alluded to a follow-up. I get that nobody follows up anyway at all, but a lot of them don't even answer the phone. And if they do, it's not by a qualified person, and there's no continuity through the sales process. There's really no design. I mean, the industry is going that way, but it's very, very slowly. And
for sure.
People don't operationalize sales for some reason, or marketing. They think it's all kind of just necessary evil, and we'll do the best we can. What is your sales process? Help us understand how you do it.
Yeah, so I'll be honest, we're a little different. I believe 100% what you're saying. We actually don't do business developers. We don't have BDMs. Just because we're emerging markets, we want to keep the overhead low. And so what we do is we go after really qualified employees and agents to make sure that they can do everything. We feel like sales is really hard to find. And not hard to find, but it's hard to find someone that's like-minded and that knows property management. And so in our emerging markets, we have 1099 employees, and their first 6 months, all they're doing is growing a business. And so it's sales. So that's the number one factor for us is, can they sell? And then also on top of that, can they be an effective property manager? Because they handle everything as well. They might get assistants later on and stuff like that, but they handle everything. But the key for that is they got to be responsive, and it's pretty quick to know if they're going to be a good salesperson or not. It's not just being responsive and following up. It's learning the content, how to present a message, how to read the clientele. And so when we have a hire decision, we're trying to find that one unicorn of employee. Basically, they can do sales, property management, maintenance coordination, and overall, we want them to be a real estate expert as well, because we want them to be total fiduciary for these landlords to help them buy and sell real estate as well. So we're looking for this unicorn. So that's our biggest thing, is finding good talent and searching for it. But the business developer, every time we have this discussion almost once a month of, should we just have a business developer as well? And here in Arizona, and we just kind of go all over the place with it. But we always stick to the factor of, hey, we want that total fiduciary responsibility, but because it's what you're talking about. They don't answer the phone, or they're not responsive. If some web form comes in, within 5 minutes, if you call that person, then 9 times more to convert. 9 times more. I mean, that's how it's all as easy as just timing, and like that, anybody can do that. You don't have to be a great salesman to be responsive. So we do it a little bit differently, but we believe we see the BDM process of it as well. We just try to combine that into one role, and hopefully we pay them a bunch of money, and so they are our rock stars. And that's the key, is finding rock stars for us. So you'll see that's our number one struggle, is finding that right person. And we wholeheartedly know it's a challenge, and we'll see maybe if it changes later. But we want to go into an area with low overhead costs, and that's what we kind of figured out, is we can go into an area and be fiscally responsible and actually cash flow within 6 months, and then pay our total investment back in a year. And so that's our goal, is if we're paying our investment back in a year, we can open as many markets as we want. That's pretty easy cash flow, or cash sense for us. And so that's what we try to do. And so we're limited on how much we can do. We can't afford a business developer, a broker, or a property manager, or maintenance coordinator in these new areas. So we can grind it to one, but it's been successful. We have great rock stars, man. We've been lucky, to be honest. I don't know why and sometimes I'm like, in the interview, I'm like, why would they take this job? Start out with zero. Hey, I don't know. You might make tons of money. Here's some leads and stuff that we do, but I don't know if you're a good fit or not. It's just kind of a crapshoot. It's hard to gauge everything on them, but sales is the number one factor. Whenever we go on that maintenance, can you grow a business? Because the first 6 months you're growing the business. You're starting from scratch.
Do you track your conversion rate?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And if you're being honest about it, what is the worst market? What you say what the market is? What is your worst conversion rate? A worst location?
Worst location? Well, I think that's a little tricky. It's because it also depends on our agent and the people we employ. But Phoenix is the hardest market. It's the most competitive. And it's funny. Like Vegas, we have a high conversion rate. Who would have thought Vegas would be a high conversion rate for us? We thought it'd be similar to Phoenix, and Reno's like off the chart conversion rate.
What's high? I'm sorry, Ben. What is high in
75%? To be honest,
75%.
Yeah, man, we're 25% on a conversion rate. We're getting these things we can. For web forms. If you include all leads, it's up to 40%. But I care about web forms, so those are trackable. The phone leads, the agents can manipulate. They might not put the lead in the system, or they didn't tag the system right to make it, or referrals. They don't put those in. They only put in ones that they want. And so I go off of web form basis. And so it's about, for qualified web forms, about 25 to 30% is average across the board. And it really depends on the agent. That's funny, is I can pull up all the markets, and it's kind of based on agents. So that's where we track everything, though, from its phone, referral, Facebook, wherever it came from, how the channel is, and by person. We track the conversion rate, and true conversion rate. We're not going to, if they cancel within a month, that's not a conversion. That's just someone signing up to boost their numbers,
So how do you deal with underperforming agents? So I think that may be a problem that a lot of our audience is dealing with. They have 1099 portfolio managers that are no longer hungry. This is what I hear. They're sort of have their 100 properties or whatever, and they just don't take the call, or then maybe they're too busy. But how do you deal with underperformers?
That's always a tricky way, but you have to have your KPIs and standards set beforehand, and so they measure themselves. And so that's what we do is. And we have a new program coming out that we're actually updating a little bit, is they can measure themselves and see where they're at. And that's the key for us, is if they need to be self-aware. And so, hey, you're just not converting as much. And plus, we show all the conversion rates to everybody. They go to their dashboard. We use Salesforce, so we integrate everything. They go to their dashboard. They can see, hey, I'm at 15% conversion on my web forms, and this guy's at 30%. What's he doing different? And then usually it's the market. Well, then look at the other 20 markets, and they're all the same. And so if they have those KPIs, that's what we try to harp on. Hey, look at this, and also, are you not following up? We have a standard procedure of things. They can deviate from it if they're successful. We don't care. Deviate all you want. We're going to take what was successful and we'll implement in our standard procedures. But if they're not following up, we just kind of have to show them. I think it's exposure. Sometimes you get them to an interview and like, you fire me? What? Why would you fire me? Like, you have no idea that we've been talking about this thing, but you have to be direct. We don't like the formal, it's one-on-one. I'm going to give you a piece of paper or disciplinary action. We don't like that. But we like, hey, if you have KPIs, you have exposure to our information, we're team players, man. We'll throw it out there. We're not going to be that type to get down on people. Hey, we're all learning. We treat them as entrepreneurs, and that's the personality we like. Hey, you're an entrepreneur. We're just trying to teach you how to make more money. For these 1099 employees, it's revenue share. So if they make more money, or if we make more money, they make more money. So we co-align our interest, and then just KPIs is key, man. I can't say that enough. You have to have KPIs. You can't measure it if you don't. What's the rule? I can't think of that terminology right now, but you can't.
Yeah, can't. If whatever you can measure, you can manage. Something like that.
Something like that.
And so in Phoenix, it's what does it cost per click? Like $22 or something?
Oh yeah, I can range from that, and there's some keywords that are $40 per click.
So let's say $40 per click. Okay, so and in Reno, it's like I don't know, 9 or 6.
Yeah, $2 on some of those.
$2. Oh wow, that low. Okay.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. They're like $20 there. No one should go to Reno. So.
No, don't go to Reno. Well, Reno's awesome. Blowing up no matter what. Yeah. Man. Isn't Elon building a factory there?
It's there. It's there. Yeah, they just bought the hotel, man, to staff their employees that are coming through. There's lots of people there. Samsung. There's tons of companies there, and it's actually our second biggest market, which is oddly enough Reno is. So we love it.
Yeah, that's a good place. But so, how do you run AdWords in Phoenix?
Yeah, we do.
Wow.
So we're not always the number one spot. There's some people that are number one spots. We tend around the 2 or 3 spot is what we try to go for. And yeah, our cost per click, on average, is about $18. There's some outskirts keywords that take it down. We do the whole valley, so it's a 2-hour drive across. We do all those. But yeah, the conversion's lower, just higher competition, especially the flat fee. Everybody's flat fee here now, basically. And so it's hard to differentiate yourself, and we don't give away free months or anything like that. And there's a lot of companies that do that here. So we have to really differentiate ourselves in other means, but it's very competitive. I think it's the most competitive market by far.
And so what is your lead cost in Phoenix? That must be, so if you're 18, average 18, so it must be about $120, $140?
Yeah, it's about just over $100. And so, and then you count, 1 out of 4 convert, so our acquisition costs $450. And then we throw on the commission.
Pretty good for Phoenix, man. That's really good for Phoenix.
Yeah, and you throw on a commission. So we try to be under, 500 is our goal in the bigger markets, but some markets we're killing it, but it's also, we're not grasping for everything. We can get more leads, then you just start paying more and you get less effective. And again, back to that stupid fiscality, we want to make sure we're spending smart money and to grow. And so we just have to be happy. Hey, we're going to grow $30 to $40 instead of 50 to 60 every month, in a market or whatever.
And who manages all that?
So we have a firm, it's in-house, that does it for us, and then I kind of oversee it. I love that stuff, and so it's been ingrained in me, so I can't not give it up, and they probably hate me, because I'm like, why don't you do this keyword? I just kind of butt in there whenever I can, but we have a firm that's exclusive to us, so no one else can grab them as a property management company. We kind of made that deal, but they're good. They're really, really good. They come from actually more about medical, I can't remember. They sell some kind of herbal pills or something like that is where their experts were at, and we just kind of picked them up, and they've been killing it. You can see our cost for conversion keeps going down for the last 8 months, and our costs and our conversions keep going up. The lines are interacting, so it's awesome to see that.
Very cool.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I wanted to take just 2 minutes of your time and say thank you to our sponsor, a company who makes this podcast a reality. That's 4.5, my company. We do marketing for property management companies. We've done it for the last 7 years, and the latest innovation we're introducing is guaranteed plans. That's right, we're able to guarantee the performance of our marketing and website services to you if you hire 4.5 to do both your marketing and the website. It all starts with a thorough business performance review where we really take a deep look into your business, SEO, business practices, your identify current gaps and areas of opportunity, and then figure out how to close them for you. Then we're gonna guarantee a specific outcome in terms of results. And if that aligns with your goals for the business, we can sign you up for this guarantee plan and deliver the results to you or work for free. If you have any, if you would take a further look at this, go to 4andhalf.com, hit pricing, and take a look at our guaranteed plans. Thank you. Let's get back to the show.
Let's talk about your pricing model a little bit. I mean, it's very, very simple. $80 per month. Do you find that helps you get a certain quality of the properties, or what kind of, like, do you have quality? There we go. I think everybody's like right now sitting on the edge of the chair. They're like, oh, then how, would you take crappy properties? Like, do you guys take crappy? I mean, is this 2,000 of crappy properties? Let's be honest. Or is it 2,000 medium properties? Good. Like, how do you, like, do you deny business? Do you say like, okay, we can't take that deal?
Yeah, that's our famous line, man. Just say no to business. We have very few under $1,000 rentals. We have very few fourplexes. We have like one multifamily or two multifamily in Reno that we inherited. But other than that, man, we get 3-bedroom, 2-bath and above. So the $80 flat fee, that's the great thing about it is you get more quality homes. You're getting from the $1,600 to $2,500 range is our typical where we're at in Phoenix, and other markets vary and stuff. But that's the key is we get quality homes, we get quality tenants. We also get landlords that have more money to buy. Usually that means they bought a bigger home. Usually they're a little more successful to buy more properties. We can also sell some more ancillary revenues there to these tenants. And that's the key for us is we want to make money off the tenant, but not charging to fee them, but also give them opportunities to buy something else or give them opportunities that bring value to them. And so if their clientele is, they have an average, net income more than the, the fourplexes and stuff like that. So that's the key with the $80 flat fee. The flat fee, that's what's killer about it. Plus, we don't charge, we always charge even if it's vacant. And so we get income no matter what, steady. It's standardized. And so we know how much we're going to get and can easily, our revenue models are easy to plan out.
Does your lease up fee change market?
No, let's be honest. We kept it the same. So we do a 50% of 1 month's rent. That's what's nice about it. And we've dabbled in other markets. Hey, should we increase? But right now we're such at a growth market. We can still make money with it. And we feel like, hey, we'd rather get in all the clientele we can, and then we'll worry about pricing later. But it's really worked well for us. Phoenix, we're kind of in the middle of the road. There's people that are cheaper than us. They do the flat rate, $399 or $499 for the lease up fee. But we still like the 50% just to kind of weed out some people too. We want to make sure, hey, our demographic, our niche is this lane. Let's stick in that lane. We might go a little bit out, but we're not going to go for that broad reach to get at every client. We care about our attrition rate. If we have a really low attrition rate, and that's where we feel like we're successful. It's not about how many doors you grow or how many you gain. It's how many you net, and so that's what we really focus in on.
What are the fees? You mentioned some other fees. What do you charge tenants? Any creative things you were willing to share?
We do all the same thing everybody else does, man. We're not going to, we don't throw it down their throat though. We don't force them to do stuff. We have the tenant admin fee, and then we do the monthly admin fee. That's really common in Arizona, but it's not common everywhere else. We do a 1% monthly admin fee to everybody across the board and justify that. Hey, we're providing a portal, we're providing easy access for you. We're also helping you rent the property, so we get away with that. But other than that, we don't charge anything else to the tenant. We don't take anything as a security deposit. We don't make them do filters or make them do insurance, anything like that. But we offer insurance. We offer filters. We offer things for them. Satellite dish, cable TV, anything you think of affiliates, we offer to them. And we kind of bundle it and package it different ways, through drip campaigns, through our leasing agents, kind of making it more symbiotic relationship of, hey, we know you're moving. Here's some things you need. We organized it for you. We're just trying to help you out. And then we get a little kickback. But key for us is also real estate. If they're ready to buy, let's get them in these, credit repair programs and get them ready to buy and use our agents to help them buy a home or help them buy an investment. The common term is called rent vesting, is where you actually buy a home to rent out that you're later going to move into, and you're actually renting, even though you own a home. And so we encourage them to do that as well. Just give them the benefits of that. Hey, you have good enough credit, but you don't know exactly where you're going to move yet. Why don't you buy a rental home and gain some income and equity? And when you're ready, you can sell that, move into that, or sell it and buy a bigger home when you're ready to buy. So those are big programs that we try to implement. We're not perfect at those things. We don't really figure that out yet, but that's what we're trying to do is hey, we want our revenue to be 50% of our landlord fees, and the rest come from ancillary tenant fees or anything else that we can build up to help bring value to them. And again, we don't like throwing it down their throat, though. We don't like that methodology. We want to, hey, we can bring value, we can make money off of it, and that's what we want, win-win for everybody.
Got it. So do you run any of those auxiliary, like the TV connection services, utility connection services? Do you run any of those, or do you have just partnerships that you build out?
No, we like some of them we run. We just did affiliates real quick, with Commission Junction or whatever, and I just built a quick email drip campaign. I've done those before, and so I have some templates that work. They're not the greatest. And then we have some other partners that we're looking at. We're looking at a utility company right now or a utility service that helps set up and, kind of like the white fence thing, but it's more to help them and see that partnership where they actually do the lead nurturing and stuff, which could be more beneficial than just a drip campaign. Our drip campaign, you're getting 1% to 2% conversion, but with these, you can hopefully get 5% to 7% conversion, so worth it. So we're exploring those right now, and that's the key for us is we want to make sure we have good affiliates. Your insurance company, we have a good affiliate, things like that we're just slowly building that bring value, but we want to vet them. We want to be like that, the Dave Ramsey preferred, I can't remember what his thing is, preferred vendor or whatever. That's what we kind of want to build is, hey, these are preferred vendors that we've vetted out that can bring value to you, whether it's the landlord or the tenant. And sometimes we might make money, sometimes we might not make money off of them, but we want to bring that value and be that total fiduciary. If they need rental investment success, they're coming to us to make sure the rental investment is successful in all manners of it.
Gotcha. And so how many, out of 2,000 properties, how many sales have you had, over the last 12 months? Do you have that number? Like what would be?
I don't have it on hand,
30, 50, 1?
No, we're in the hundreds,
Hundreds, okay.
Yeah, so it depends. Dallas they do a really good job at it. Some other markets, the agents aren't doing a good job at it, or haven't had enough vested in it. Think of, we have, 9-10 markets that opened in the last 18 months. So they're still under 500 doors, each of these markets. So they've only been a year. So none of them are really selling that much. Usually what we've done in emerging markets is they're seeking out a property manager before they even bought a home. And that's the way we get them is, hey, let's get that. So we got a lot of buys on that. And then if they're willing to sell, we try to sell it in 1031 into a smaller market where they can get more for their money, more for the bank, but that's something we still need to work on. We're horrible at it still. I'll admit that we're still working to figure it out. And our Dallas agents did 32 deals in a year. That's great. How can we duplicate that everywhere? Is the key. And it goes back. We have so many markets. It's hard to standardize that, between agents because we rely on that agent so much. And they all have different skill sets and different learning methodologies.
And so if you break down roughly the revenue currently in the revenue vision, what is the percentage you'd get from property management portfolio versus everything else? Let's call them I call it CVUs, complementary business units. What is the percentage now? And what is the percentage, let's say, when you get to 2020 goal?
Yeah, so I looked it up now. It's about 85% is now from property management fees, 85 to 90%. And our goal is to get that to 60% to 40%. We want to be the CVUs, what you call them. We want to increase that tremendously. We feel that's the value of it. We still want a good product and a profitable product for our management fees.
For sure.
The space is there, and how we have it set up is geared towards that. We're not departmentalized. They have one contact, these tenants and landlords. So build up on that relationship. Build that trust, and if we can help them be successful, you can gain a lot of revenue from that, and it's a win-win across the board. And that's the key there. So, but yeah, we definitely want the 60-40 split would be awesome if we could figure that out. And I include tenant fees and all that into the 60%. I'm just 40% of those ancillaries are could be killer. But we're a long way from that. We're definitely a long way from that. And we've focused a lot on growth, and so we're still a small team. But we feel like we have some things in place and things coming up that really can boost our revenue and help with that cash flow so we can grow any faster.
Benton, how do you think about scaling locations? Because if you're agent dependent, let's say that agent gets to 50, 60, 150 properties, what then?
That's the brilliant question. We've done it a few times, and what we've typically done is shut off the leads and hire another 1099 agent and give them the leads. And then the person that has 100 doors, usually around 100 doors, they just maintain their current portfolio and grow naturally through referrals or realtor programs and keep nurturing their leads. By that time, they have 400 or 500 leads each year. And so they've built up a good database that they can keep nurturing. And that's what our key is. If you keep nurturing for the next 3 years, your conversion rate's going to go up 20%. So just keep nurturing. But that's been kind of the handoff. We've also have one agent that hired an assistant. okay, you can manage more. We think about 125 to 150 because they also do their own leasing, self-showing, but they still do their leasing agreements and negotiations and verification. So we kind of play that game, but it's been a little, it's worked and it's worked some, it depends on how it's going, but we think that's still the best methodology of what type of programs we want to run. It's about getting that good client though. And you got to keep doing it though. It's just hard to keep doing it. And then once we get big enough, we'll see. And there in Phoenix, we don't run them 1099 contractors. They're all employees because we had a bigger portfolio already. And then in Vegas, the same way. And Reno now the same way as well. We have one independent contractor, but it's hard. I think we're kind of in the middle with our established markets versus our emerging markets. And, we want to go towards the emerging market independent contractor way. But you feel like you're giving away money almost. You feel like you're giving away money, but then you realize back in the day, it's quality of service. It's the caliber of person that we have to deal with. And can we get like-minded people to help these investors continue to grow and get more doors through organic referrals and stuff like that.
Gotcha. And so is there a breaking point where you are going to put a location, an office, a physical office there and actually start building more of a, true kind of a let's say satellite office?
As of right now, no, to be honest, we don't. We have a physical location. We have an office, but they still work from home and go in the office whenever they want. It's a shared office space. But our goal for right now is keep everything in back office, keep it really slim. So we have account managers that do all the paper pushing and digital things here, put the property in, advertise, pay bills and all that stuff. So we centralize it and then we leave these 1099 employees to really be the communicators and the coordinators. And we think we just keep building upon it, and see how it goes. It's working, in Dallas, we have 2 agents, and in Atlanta, we had 3 agents, it's working. And so we think we continue to go that way. Comes down to a point, I think, it's going to be a hard transition for us to go back to traditional office. I think if let's say you're at 1,000 doors, you have 8 agents. Hey, by the way, now you guys are all not 1099, you're W-2 and your revenue share. We're obviously going to cut your pay because you're W-2 now. I think it's going to be a difficult choice for us, but I think we think we've planned it out enough that we can actually keep it going with the 1099 agents and make it successful and a cohesive offense. We'll still have to have some kind of managerial position there. The broker's not really the manager, and so we still have to figure that out. But so far it's been successful. So we'll see how many we can get to. There's a company here in Arizona that does it, and they're at 20 agents, about 2,000 doors. And they do a great job of it. So there's a model there. We do definitely do things a little bit differently, and we have a lot more technology and stuff behind it. So it's a little bit different, but still they're successful at it. So we think we can be successful at it, and it keeps our costs down in these emerging markets. So that's key for us, getting the footprint. But you never know what the future holds. We can't say, but we definitely want to make sure they're taken care of. We feel like it's an entrepreneurial spirit. That's the way to win. If they feel that and they grab onto it, then why change?
So the key is really in your model is to bring the right person in.
Yeah, that's 100%. If we can bring the right person in, we can do it. We have the leads. We have tons of leads. We can do it. It's just getting the right person in place. And so that's the hard part. And we're still figuring out. We're doing a lot of things. We just went over a thing yesterday about predictive hiring, how we can improve our hiring process. And so we've thrown everything out there that we can. And, our regional manager that we hired that's what he is. He comes from human capital. That's his goal, and then find the right person. And so 100%, if we find the right person, we'll be successful. If we don't, we'll be mildly successful. And that's not what we're going for. We're not going to be in an area that we're going 5 to 10 doors. It just doesn't make sense for us. We want to be 20 to 30 doors a month at least,
Here's the question. And then we're going to go to your technology stack. Mm-hmm. And then we'll probably have to wrap it up. This has been interesting, but I think we got to have an end goal here as well. All right, let's actually, let's look into, because I know you, I want to ask you like a bunch of questions. I'm just trying to prioritize in the interest of time. My first question, can you lead us into the technology stack by first explaining to us and myself, what is your role? Like, what do you do every day as a CEO of fast-growing property management company? What are your specific goals? What does your day look like? What are your responsibilities? And then sort of maybe lead us into the technology side. How do you guys stack up in terms of what systems you use for what?
Sure. Yeah. My day-to-day is I'm pretty removed from the operational aspect of it, managing the employees and stuff. We have a director of property management who's great, and a regional manager is great for emerging markets. So my goal, my oversight is marketing and technology, really. And I'm hands-on with that because I love technology. We contract out some things, but I actually build some of it myself. So, with our technology, I still feel we're still small enough that we need to run multiple hats. And it's expensive for technology. So I like to take that upon myself. But that's really what we go for. So marketing and technology go together, though. And operations as well. Luckily, I've been around operations, and I managed homes, and I've been through that process. So I've been through every single department. I've done everything as a property manager, as an accountant, as everything, and so I can understand their roles and what their needs are for technology stack that we need to help them make them more efficient. And so we're going segment. We don't have a big cash influx to spend $10 million on our software. We're going platform based, so we're using the Salesforce's Force.com and customizing it, and we're just picking off little modules that we can do that we can 100% turn over to Salesforce with just enhancing our current CRM platform that we use for our property management. And then also, how can we bring other things into it? So we want everything 100% to be Salesforce eventually, if we can get to that point. To a point, if it makes sense still to keep on with our third-party property management software and then just have Salesforce as a supplement, we're good with that too. If they open up their API and make it really a good API, and so that's the key for us, is push it all in there. But we love big data. You have to know what you're going through. I love seeing it, like RingCentral. I know you use RingCentral. that's a conference we're on right now. I love it. It has an open API, man. I put everything in I can. I don't care what it is. I'll grab that data and I'll put it in Salesforce so we can see it. Now I see how many missed calls our leasing line has in Atlanta. I know how many missed calls we have on our sales line in Denver. And just consolidate that to see, and then we can run KPIs from it. And so we're trying to integrate as much as we can. Either hopefully it talks to Salesforce or it's built within Salesforce. So a lot of our lead nurturing we customize and built through Salesforce. And then obviously like our drip campaigns and stuff like that, we use an additional software that talks to it. Same thing with RingCentral, anything you think of, QuickBooks, a lot of things can sync up with Salesforce. And so eventually, hopefully we can replace modules and just use Salesforce 100% native. But we're going segment by segment, where it's me building it or contracting it out or finding people that have something already that I can implement. And we just want to make sure we're not going to be, I don't want to be spending $20,000 a month on software. That's a lot that's expense, man. I'd rather put it in marketing. Let's put it in the doors to get the return, There's a certain point, but when we get big enough, a little bit bigger, it makes more sense because I can save a few jobs by making us more efficient with the software, and I can close more deals with the software. And so we're getting close, though. We're definitely getting close.
So you don't currently use any of the top 3 accounting systems that like AppFolio, Propertyware, building?
No, we do. We use Propertyware. That's the big thing, is because the ACH and the payment gateways, they have so many, so it's hard to build your own, because you're like, hey, I'm going to Stripe. Hey, I'm going to do $1 million a month. Well, I don't care. I'm still going to charge you $5 for every ACH. Well, I'm not making money off the ACH, And so you kind of have to go through that. So that's what we're looking at. Hey, what modules can we take out? Big one is application and screening and listing syndication. We can bring those out. And so that's the first things we'll start doing, is seeing, hey, we can not only take it out, but we can improve upon it. If we can improve upon it, let's do it.
You can probably monetize it too.
Oh yeah. That's what's key is, man, capture all those prospects. Think how many we get, each market. I think in Phoenix, we get 3,500 emails a month off of prospective tenants. I'm selling the crap out of them with affiliates and stuff. I'm throwing everything I can at them. They need to move. They need to clean. They need cleaners. They need security systems. They need cable TV. I can bring them same white glove service to them that I can to my tenants. So why not try to monetize that? And also, I'm going to drip them free real estate. Hey, your credit score can be, we don't go off credit score, but we can say keep throwing at them and see if their credit score is good, and say you can buy a house. And so that's the key, is capture that data and monetize it. And it's hard with a closed off system. We've built around, we don't even use the proper API. We just built around the XMLs out and figured it out to make it where we can bring all that information in and get it to our drip campaigns. And that's the key, is to keep going, but also enhance the customer experience. If we enhance the customer experience, they bring the value, they feel the value, they trust us. They realize, hey, we're not just here to get fee mongers. We're not here just to make revenue. We're here to make your life better and our life better. And that's the key for us, is, hey, these systems, and they can't, Propertyware, AppFolio, Yardi, they have to kind of stay central, because there are thousands of different variations of how to use the software. They can't really deep dive into a process and make it really customer centered. Or we can totally make it customer centered to exactly our clientele. We know who they are. We know what they want. And so we gauge it and build it for them.
Yeah, I made a mistake switching to a terrible CRM from very basic and very good CRM as we were growing up. Up to 8, 9, 10, 20, 15 employees. It still worked. At 15, it started really sort of breaking apart. I really should have gone Salesforce. I made just a dumb choice. And I'm not going to say where I'm at because I'm not going to be there for long. But boy, what a difference a CRM makes. I mean, we have to do everything manually. I mean, Lead Simple obviously is a great solution for most people out there.
Yep.
But I think I can feel your passion, man. And Salesforce is something I've known for a long time. I've worked with other companies where, but you have to be a technologist. Like, let's just face it, 99% of the people listening, including myself, I don't have zero interest mucking around in the Salesforce, looking at all these different apps. It's overwhelming to me. It's going to be fun if it's not my only job, but it's not my only job. I got to oversee a company. How do you balance that? Like, really wanting to dig in and actually start tweaking these little buttons in Salesforce versus actually running a company.
That's the struggle I have with it. Sometimes I spend a couple of nights working on this little app for Salesforce when I should have been cold calling some doors to acquire or working on our marketing because I get excited about it and I get engaged in it. And so I remember I was 10 years ago that we started Salesforce with my other company. And I remember I just found it. I went through it. I'm like, man, I think we're at 150, 200 doors. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. This is a game changer to us if we can implement it. I remember spending up all night, tweaking with it, figuring out proposal. I had a PowerPoint. I had everything. I went to my boss, my partner. Hey, I think we should do this. And I was ready for like a 2-hour debate. Man, I'm like, I'm gonna get this done. 2 seconds, like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, what the, okay, man, I prayed all this time, but
you had everything ready.
Everything ready, but he saw the value in it because there's a lot of value in it, and that's why I was like, well, how can you do that in your own business, local office? You're not going to be tech savvy, like I love technology. I'm buying the new things. Well, find an accountant. I took accountants and programmers take 3 years, pretty much take the same classes. All accountants have taken 4 or 5 different software programming classes and IT classes. Hire them as a secondary attribute. Like, you just never know, an experiment. Let them experiment. Give them some time. Maybe it's 5 hours a week to experiment, bring something to you, but use it as a secondary function. I don't think it's worth your while to bring on just some of this IT guy, software guy, because a lot of them aren't experimental. They're not enthusiastic about it. They're just doing it to get a job. But if it's a secondary aspect that they're enthused about, that's who you're going to get the value out of it because they love it and they see the passion behind it. And so if they're really going to spend extra hours or time on it, that means it's good for you. It's not just good for their pocketbook. And so that's why I say is just try to find someone that's a little bit IT centered and let them experiment. It's okay to experiment. Like Salesforce, you have a free developer account. You can go build whatever you want. Like, do stuff like that. Find Podio. I mean, they have all these free things you can figure out. You just have to be enthused about it, but don't go overboard with it. You can't. Yeah, I remember at 200 doors, we shouldn't have, because I spent all my time on it. But I got all my duties done, but I would spend all my time on it. We could just focus on the other things. You have to build upon line, figure out what's essential to your business, and maybe branch out a little bit, but don't go from 0 to 100. It's just not worth it for you. It's remember your ROI. But I'd say always keep trying things. You never know. You never know what will stick, but don't release to your whole staff every time you're trying something. Just try it internally. Figure out, hey, so what I do is, like, when I release something, I go and do what the person that's going to do it. If it's accounting and it's a automation refund, I'm going to go through the steps with them, and then I'm going to bring in the automation, and I'm going to go through it myself and try it out before I even release to them. So they're not overwhelmed, and I don't want to overwhelm my staff with it. I can take that upon myself because I'm okay working 60 to 70 hours a week. I don't want them working 60 to 70 hours a week though. I want them working 40, 45, have a life. That's the goal. So it's a gauge, man. But that's always say, just find someone that's in secondary activities. They love IT and let them experiment.
So I love that. There's so much more I want to unpack. We might have to do episode 2 because we haven't even gotten to customer service and customer experience, which is the stuff I really wanted to sort of like have you explain to us how you do things. Because look, Benton, you can do all kinds of tweaking in your software, but you have to have a purpose and a vision on what is it that you're trying to deliver, and then that software needs to solve that. I think the wrong way to approach it is to try to see what software can do, rather than what needs to be done. And I'm going to just pick up a book here. Jordan Weller, my kind friend, sent me this book called Never Lose a Customer Again. Man, what a joy, what a read, man. I've just, incredible. But there are books like that that truly educate you on it. Because I think as an industry, we need to get educated. As a property management industry, we need to get educated on customer experience. Almost nobody does almost nothing. Right? Nothing. So if you are better, if you send them a handwritten note, like if you do something outside of you just handling the problems or being somewhat proactive, it's a win, right? It's a retention game.
It's funny is other industries have caught on. It's just our industry hasn't yet. I think we've gotten away with it. But it's also like we talked about before, you don't want to go extreme, and it's a coolness factor sometimes with technology. Like I remember going through and releasing this awesome app for maintenance. This is going to be awesome. And you can select your bids, go through your bids, it's all automated. It's cool. You can like a checking cart. No one cared, man. They're like, hey, can you just send me the PDF and I'll approve the whole thing? Like, what the? No, you just go online. This is some cool checkout, like you can pay right there. No, just send me the PDF and then I'll send a check and they'll check it. Oh, okay, well, it was useless. So you have to engage your customers, know what they want. And it goes back to those simple things of, hey, I'm not going to build out this huge customer portal that's awesome for these tenants. Because sometimes I just want to pay rent, so I'd rather build out other things. Hey, what do they care about? They care about maintenance and their home being right, so let's gauge that, figure out what they really want, what your customer wants, and then how can we expand upon that? And we are so far behind. I mean, there's tons of things you can do in our industry. We start with hiring good people that are reactionary, are responsive, not reactionary, responsive. If they're responsive, that goes a long way. Even, I don't care if it's a tenant, man, you're responding right away. Even if you don't know the answer, respond right away, figure out something to help them. And then sometimes you have to do hard things, but just be a little bit more and then find things, engage them. Hey, send out a survey. Say, hey, I'm thinking about building this or doing something like this or giving away gift cards. What do you guys think? Do you think that'd really help you in your decision to buy a home or whatever it is? Send out surveys, talk to them on the phone, tell your agents, hey, just every time you talk to a tenant, ask them about this and see what the gauge back is. It only takes 5 minutes, and get it back. You're not doing it every day. You're just doing it. Hey, I'm doing it once every 2 months. I'm doing this, and I'm doing a passive email survey once a month. And then just figure out what they want and then make their needs. I think sometimes we build, hey, I think they need this, and this is what I'm going to give my service to. And I think our industry's back is like, hey, what do they want? And sometimes they want paper statements. Well, how can we make that easier for them? And then how can we educate them to realize that's wrong? You shouldn't have paper statements. Go online. But, it's either educate them or it's give them what they want. And it's okay. Just give them what they want. But a lot of times I feel like you're not stepping a back forward when you give them what they want. You're expanding your business. You're improving the industry. And because it's going to come in the next 5 or 10 years for sure, these millennials, and we always say that keyword millennial, but people are expecting other things from other softwares. It's going to creep over. They're just going to expect that, hey, I'm used to having this. I'm used to having a button right here. I'm used to be able to do this. How come I can't do that in your system? And so paying by credit card, that's going to be norm. Paying by Venmo. I want to be able to pay my rent by Venmo. How come I have to do a credit card? In 10 years, it might be that. Let's be responsive. Let's be engaged and experiment.
This is interesting. So let's wrap this up. I have one more question for you, but before that, I want to make a quick statement. Those of you who listen to this podcast and got all the way down to this episode, you're probably excited. There's just like 16 things Benton just said that are sort of like vital and important, but I think it's establishing that feedback loop by asking your customers what they're looking for and finding a way to experiment to deliver that value to them. That is really the way to improve and grow your business. And so I always say there's 3 keys, Benton, to 3 core principles to business success. 3 core principles, and their purpose. Know where you're going. Have the team aligned, culture, all that. But I define that as purpose. Have your purpose. Know your numbers. Number 2, can't live without it. Can't succeed without it. And number 3, the culture of experimentation. You, my friend, are the perfect example of all 3.
I don't know about that, but thank you.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, look, you have the purpose. And again, we just scratched the surface on some of these things. You know your numbers. You have KPIs. You know your numbers. And then you are absolutely like, open to experimentation. I think that's your kind of strong suit, right? That is where you really shine. And so, you know what? There's your story, man. 450 to 2,000 units in 2.5 years. I have one more question.
Yeah.
Benton, what percentage of revenue do you spend on marketing?
Oh, man.
About
8 to 10%. You always pay Mark 10%, man. Pay Mark 10% first before you pay yourself. And so luckily I have a good business partner, and Jacob is my business partner, makes less than anybody in the company. And we don't take draws. We're here for marketing. So we put everything back in so we can afford to pay 10% of marketing. But yeah, man, pay Mark, dude. That's the key.
It's my game, man. That's how I do, man. Yeah. That's it. Everything goes back into business, man. That's where I control my own destiny by putting everything I have back into business rather than somewhere else and have somebody else, like stock market or whatever.
Yeah.
But in any event, this was a phenomenally illuminating interview. I appreciate your time. There's a lot there. So guys, I apologize. We talked, 1,000 miles an hour, but hopefully you can slow play it. And we'll have an article written up. So hopefully my copywriter will catch everything you said. But
sorry, man. I talk fast. I apologize, guys.
Oh, it's passionate. I get it. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. We hope to see you at the PM Growth Summit.
Oh man, we'll be there. We appreciate all you do, man. We've learned a lot from you. You and Jordan, we love you guys. So really appreciate what you're doing for the industry. And I'm always up for anything. I love talking shop. So appreciate the time.
Thank you for your time, and guys. Until next time, thank you for listening.